Hello and welcome once again. Thank you for joining us for the board we haven't changed yet.
You can see it's a direct continuation. Same clothes, same
We're
board.
the same clothes.
All right.
What are we drinking today?
Water and water. We'll just talk about this. All right. Okay.
Should I change the board?
Yeah, I changed the board. All right. You don't want them to get confused. All right.
How many episodes of the Cybermen have you seen so far?
Oh, there's a good number of episodes of Cybermen. They probably are second only to the Daleks and possibly the Master.
I write down a lot.
Yeah, the three villains you see the most often are the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Master, and I'm not sure about the Daleks are number one. I'm not sure about the order of the Cybermen and the Master.
The Master's on a long hiatus right now, right? Before we see him again.
You and I?
Yes.
A bit, yeah. He'll be back with the Fourth Doctor. But actually yeah, the actor who played him passed away, Roger Delgado. So where we're watching him in the Third Doctor, he doesn't show up for a bit. And then he shows back up, the different actor playing the same character.
Right.
With the Fourth Doctor. And then he continues on into the Fifth Doctor. He's there a good bit in the Fourth Doctor, but not as much as the Third. And then he continues on into the Fifth Doctor. I'm trying to remember if he's with the Sixth Doctor.
He gets featured more than I thought he did.
Well, the Sixth Doctor has the Ronnie.
The Ronnie?
Instead, and the Valeyard. I'm not sure. I don't think the Sixth Doctor actually meets the Master. And the Seventh Doctor does. Seventh Doctor does meet the Master a couple, 2, 3, 4 times. And the Eighth Doctor meets the Master.
1984. That was the note I took for the Macroterra.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Orwellian Society.
Speaking of which, have you read that book?
Nope.
Good. There's a copy for you right there.
For me?
Yes.
Ooh,
read
I'm
it.
going to read it.
And then pass along to your brother and have him read it.
Okay.
But Lily bought a copy for you right there.
Really? You didn't have to do that.
No, that's right.
Is it on audiobook?
No, it's a book
while
book.
I read it?
Huh?
I like to listen to things and then read along.
No, it's a book.
Okay.
Pages you turn.
What is this strange technology you speak of?
Paper. It's called paper. Okay, we're talking about the Daleks.
The Cybermen.
Sorry, the Cybermen, not the Sockmen.
Not the Daleks.
True. Misspoke, but no. Cybermen. Okay. Now, we're talking about the Cybermen overall.
Well, what I've seen so far.
Okay.
And what you see. And what's to come.
Cybermen.
Cybermen.
Sound like Galadriel in Lord of the Rings. It shows you what was, what is, and what may yet come to pass.
Yeah. Like, by the way, we don't talk about this very much, but the Doctor has a future sight thing in his TARDIS.
Oh yeah,
Does that
came up
ever
with the Macroterra.
Does that ever
today.
come up again? Where he like peers into what might happen?
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, that's a thing I forgot happened, and then has never come up again. But
What was the one the First Doctor when they looked into?
I thought that was just like an outside scope.
No. There was one serial where the First Doctor has them look into this deal, and it was kind of like a future sight thing.
Yeah, he was showing them what the Daleks were, right?
Yeah, and it was like a long. Yeah, that never comes up again either.
Mm-hmm.
Same here. I mean, seriously, the Doctor could walk through parts of the TARDIS and go, "Oh yeah, and there's that thing, and there's that thing." But to be fair, a lot of the TARDIS gets ejected out into space at a certain point. Mm-hmm. In order to make room, it ejects rooms. It's infinitely big on the inside, but it loses mass that way, which they use at a couple of instances.
I'm already confused.
Well, you eject mass to gain energy.
Yes. Okay.
So the TARDIS needs extra energy in a couple of points.
Like the what was the Satan thing? The daemons.
Yeah,
It like
daemons.
grows and it gets really cold and then shrinks and it gets really hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Exchange.
So anyway, the Cybermen are originally from the planet Mondas, which is a twin planet of Earth, which is on the exact opposite side of the sun from the Earth. And
until they get like jettisoned, right?
right, well, there's always been speculation going back in medieval times about a twin planet on the opposite side from the Earth, the opposite side of the sun. You can't see it, right?
But now we know that it's not there.
Yeah, right. We know it's not there by satellite imagery and the Voyager craft and stuff like that. But anyway, so
Unless it's like
they didn't know that yet.
invisible.
But back in the 60s. But anyway, so the Mondasian Cybermen look like they're wearing socks because
They're
they're
about
wearing
to
socks.
rob a bank or something.
Yeah, it's cloth over their faces and bodies with the big old what's that deal on their chest? Looks like a muffler or something.
Darth Vader's
Yeah.
control panel.
Well, yeah, but it looks more like a pistons are gonna come out or something.
Very cyberpunk.
And they open their mouth like this, and they close it. But it's very, very, like I said, sock-like. They show up originally in the 10th planet, which is referring to Mondas, and they're the ones who actually kill the first Doctor, or because the excitement's too much for him and he's wearing thin.
They wear him out.
Yeah. They eventually come back over and over again. We see the Mondasians, I think, one more time with the second Doctor.
Moon base?
Yeah, before they turn into their more metal style.
I
And
really
then,
like the moon base.
and
As
then-
a classic. It's setting
Oh,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole fort under.
it's the classic, a base under assault, that's by itself. The Mondasian Cybermen come back once more.
Really? We get to
With
see
the
sock
12th
heads?
Doctor.
Are they still wearing the socks?
Yes, it's the original Mondasian Cybermen. Now, most of the Cybermen, now that we're past the Mondasians, throughout the entire show are the Steel Cybermen.
Right.
And they're reworked really well in the
Silly.
modern stuff from an alternate universe. They works really well. But then the Mondasians come back right at the end of the 12th Doctor. Because that was, as a child, that was Capaldi's favorite villain, the Mondasian Cybermen. So he got them to do them as what was almost his swan song.
That's nice. That's a counter spell. Magic. You get one bird
Yeah, swan song.
counter spell.
Yeah.
Do you remember the Z bomb? Did we ever talk about what the Z stands for? In the 10th planet? He gets zonked.
No, it's kind of like the Q bomb in The Mouse That Roared. It's just like an H bomb, but further in the outfit, so it has to be worse.
Z is about as bad as it gets, I guess.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Was Twice Upon a Time before or after? Let's see. The end of Capaldi, he meets the Mondasian Cybermen. In World Enough in Time. Alright, I've got to rewatch World Enough in Time and Twice Upon a Time. Because for some reason I thought Bill Potts went away in World Enough in Time. But then if I remember right, she's there in Twice Upon a Time, which is afterwards. So I've got to remember why she's still there.
Is there a Thrice Upon a Time?
No.
When's that one coming out?
No. Probably later at the rate they're going. But Twice Upon a Time, I could have sworn Bill Potts was in it. But she goes away at the end of The Doctor Falls. So if it's not her, who was that? I've got to...
Is it a weird timeline thing?
No, I'm trying to remember. I'm going to remember who was with him in the TARDIS at that juncture. But the first Doctor shows up, and it's not flattering to the portrayal of the first Doctor. They really do Hartnell a disservice in that. Kind of sad. Yeah, it is. They make him out to be a white man bad kind of racist, misogynist thing, but he wasn't ever really that way, But it's the modern garbage. Yeah, it's Jim, no. Alright, anyway, Cybermen, classic villains, because they assimilate those that they're taking over to become them.
Yes.
They take humanoids.
They themselves used to be human.
Right.
On Mondas, upside down Earth.
Yeah, and they take humanoids and humans, and they convert them to Cybermen.
Because flesh is weak.
Mm-hmm. And
emotions are weak.
Right, that's why it's very difficult to fight zombies, because for every one of your guys that falls, that's a new enemy for the zombies.
Also, the zombies are made out of metal and have guns.
But it's really good. You're being upgraded to a Cyberman.
Yes.
So they take over human beings and they turn them into Cybermen, and they're really cool bad guy.
One of the things I like them so much as a bad guy is because they're so opposite of the Doctor, to where a lot of the times how the Doctor deals with his villains is he makes this appeal to their humanity, and he's able to play upon their emotions or get them to see their wrongdoings. You just can't do that with Cybermen because they don't have emotions. They're like the Daleks. They're robots.
Correct.
They're reasoning, but no emotion.
But in the 10th Planet, they show some elements of humanity when they're talking with the Doctor and all that.
I guess I don't remember.
There are just some slight elements of logic, reason, humanity, and the willingness to explain things. They're less robotic and still a little more human. By the time we see them next in the moon base, that's all gone. Okay. They're more alien, and then they get their metal shells, and they're just completely robotic. And one of the differences between the Mondasians and the metal Cybermen is to what level they're still human-esque and to what level they're not. So
they're still perfecting their upgrades and
in theory,
training
yes.
all their emotion.
Correct. In theory, the metal ones are an upgrade from the Mondasian originals, and in the Capaldi one, we get to see the origins of the Cybermen.
That was my next question. That the origins of the Daleks that I'm waiting for.
Genesis of the Daleks.
Genesis, and I was wondering if there's one for the Cybermen.
There is. Okay. World Enough in Time.
I'm super excited for those.
It's going to be a few years before we get there. Well, not Genesis of the Daleks. It's actually coming up rather soon.
Ooh, good. How soon? How soon?
First season of the Fourth Doctor.
Oh, that is soon.
Okay, so you and I are right there.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't see it. Okay, I see it.
Right there. Alright. Genesis of the Daleks. No. Right here.
Oh,
we're not that far.
A few cereals away.
Just a few cereals away. Okay, and then the main group is right there. We're going to start Castrovalva eventually. Because of so much cleanup, the holidays, some illnesses, and all the football. It's been 6 months. By the time we're done, it'll have been 6 months that we were on cleanup.
Wow.
Yeah. Finish the Fourth Doctor, but not yet starting the Fifth Doctor. But yeah, so, and right there, Shada is where Lissa and I are. Yeah. And she and I have to play catch up to the main group here pretty soon.
So, speaking of cleanup, at some point we'll have another Cybermen Heroes and Villains episode, right?
For what?
For Heroes and Villains.
Why?
Because of all the other Cybermen content
we can actually occasionally revisit this, so that you can give more perspective for the long running villains We do Daleks Part 2 or Cybermen Part 2.
I'm sure there'll be even more Dalek and Cybermen serials that have came out since then.
Oh yeah,
because they're fairly recurring in the new stuff, right?
Yes, yes. In fact, there's one serial with both of them that's really awesome.
Ooh.
You have the Cybermen, the Daleks facing off, and the Daleks are like,
identify yourself.
Right, identify yourself, and the Cybermen are like, you identify yourself. Daleks are like, no.
Daleks do not take orders.
Right, Daleks do not take orders. Yeah. Oh, you identified yourself as the Daleks.
It's like, no.
Oh, exactly. It's awesome. But yeah,
that's what you get for speaking in third person.
Exactly. But
Does that mean the Daleks are more robotic than the Cybermen? Because they don't have a sense of self?
Well, both the Cybermen and the Daleks have an organic component inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
For the Cybermen...
The Daleks, it's less so, though.
Well, yeah. For the Cybermen, it's pretty much human body inside, although... Remember, we have the Cybermats and the Cybermites. Oh yeah, we get to the Cybermats and the Cybermites. You have those as well, and those are purely robotic. And there are times when the Cybermen are purely robotic, and they have all sorts of different weird abilities. In the modern stuff, like the head of a Cyberman can lash out and actually attack you with the cords.
That sounds like a scene from The Thing or something.
Yeah, it fairly is. And they get the ability to fly at one point, but then again, so do the Daleks eventually. Although Daleks get it in the 20th century stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. It's one of
all I imagine is just like that scene where R2-D2 starts flying and like it blew everyone's mind. Like, what?
Kind of like that. It's one of the big myths about doctors that Daleks didn't get to fly until the 21st century, but they actually in the 7th Doctor get to fly in the 20th century.
Like economy or?
Well, essentially. But the Doctor does his usual thing of goes up the stairs and he's like, aha! And then the Dalek levitates on, little thrusters, kind of like C-3PO or R2-D2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then flies over. The Doctor's like, and runs off, and that's Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good scene.
It actually is. I was very surprised at that serial, how rewatching how good it was.
It holds up.
It does hold up. It really does.
Speaking of really good scenes, Tomb of the Cybermen. We have them.
Oh yeah, as they're coming out of the tomb.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Yeah. While
that might be my most favorite Cyberman
story
serial. Yeah.
Yeah. The 10th planet is their origin, but they're still the Mondasians. The moon base is really good, but it's partly missing. Actually, same for the 10th planet. The 4th episode is missing, and that is still the Mondasian ones. But by the time you get to the Tomb of the Cybermen, not only is it the first complete serial for the 2nd Doctor, but now they're metal, completely metal. And it's a really good serial, and it's like I said, the first fully existing serial of the 2nd Doctor. It's just a fantastic combo. It's iconic.
It hits you all at once, yeah.
Right, it's filled with all those iconic scenes like that. And so I think that's probably the quintessential one, at least for 20th century.
I think so.
Yeah,
with my limited
experience.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're getting on in there. We're to the middle of the 3rd Doctor,
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I'll be an expert by the end of these.
You will. Yeah.
We should have a panel at Comic-Con. Talk about Doctor Who.
I doubt that'll ever happen. If it does happen, cool.
Lubbock-Con.
Lubbock-Con?
We get a panel for anything at Lubbock-Con.
Actually,
please provide content.
I'm too busy manning the booth.
Right, yeah.
But no. If this ever cut on decently well, I could actually see us having a panel at Lubbock-Con and going, these are the guys who for, how long have we been doing this? 3 years? For 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is at that point, been talking about Doctor Who.
20 years later.
By that point, we'll definitely finish the main line.
Yes.
Wait, what's the date on our first episode?
Which first episode?
Oh, 6/11/2018.
Like our first episode?
Yeah, so we're rapidly approaching our 3rd anniversary for this.
Oh, right.
Just
Need to make a cake.
couple more months.
Or jelly babies. I'll bring over some jelly babies.
Let's see. Okay, so the Cybermen do evolve over time. They have upgrades, and like I said, eventually they fly.
Does the TARDIS ever evolve over time? Or is it just like the
in many
nostalgic, clinky,
well, in many
it's
ways
not the best.
it does, in many ways it doesn't.
Does Bessie ever make a return?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Alright.
In Battlefield.
Nice, yeah.
Bessie
The one you
shows up
just
in
watched.
Battlefield, yeah.
That's funny because the Brigadier came back. They had to bring back Bessie.
Yeah, he's like, I know how fond you were of it. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. But yeah, the TARDIS occasionally gets upgrades and stuff like that. The Cybermen do. But yeah, and I hesitate to mention this because it's still in The Timeless Child, which we're waiting to see if it's going to be canon or not because it's so bad. And because I haven't seen it yet, and because it destroys so much
You
of
haven't seen
Doctor
it
Who
yet?
history. No, I told you, I have stood in Barnes & Noble holding Series 12 in my hand at least 5 or 6 different times.
So you just heard about it.
Well, no, I've watched a whole bunch of reviews on it.
Oh, okay.
I've read about it, I've watched reviews, I just haven't watched the episodes. I just don't want to destroy
Maybe it takes your own...
every other single Doctor Who everything that's ever come out. I'm like, give me, I want it, I buy it. This, I'm like, no, I keep putting it back. I cannot bring myself to purchase it, and it's been out for a year now.
What if you just stream it without purchasing?
No, eventually I'll purchase it and put up there, but it's just, I don't have the need to do it yet, and I just can't seem to bring myself to do it because of how bad Timeless Children was. But in The Timeless Child...
Well, maybe it takes your own viewing experience.
To know how bad it is, even worse. No,
Maybe it's not that bad.
it's that bad.
Okay.
But in The Timeless Child, there are Time Lord Cybermen.
What? That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. Now we have to watch
Awful. Well, eventually we will.
it. So, okay, you have Time Lords, and then you have the Cybermen who captured Time Lords
And turn them into Cybermen.
That's amazing.
At least that's the theory.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm really hoping it's all fever.
That's like that. Oh man, that's like a thing in every fantasy trope that you want to see, but it's so like canon destroying that you have Master Chief and the Flood, which are like space zombies, and they're like, what if Master Chief turned into the Flood in space? So you have these people that make fan art of it, and it's like a cool concept that most IPs just never get to explore.
Well, yeah, bad fan fiction. That's exactly what it is. It's bad fan fiction.
I love that.
Okay, if you like it for camp and laughs, we're going to get to it eventually.
What if Doctor Who was a Cyberman? Like, alternate timeline. I don't care how you... Yeah. The Doctor would have...
Well, I mean, even in Star Trek, at one point they turned Picard into a Borg, didn't
Yeah.
they?
See?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
No.
You gotta watch it. Let me know.
I will eventually. The main group, or you and I, or Liz and I, are going to get to it eventually first.
That's a while away.
You and I, yeah. Liz and I,
But
not
don't
so
you have
much.
to watch it for like the context going into the next Doctor on your own?
Well, okay, at some point later this year or early next year, I will probably purchase it and watch it.
Right.
But considering
That's all I want.
it's been a year and we've had a whole one episode,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel in a great need to catch up. Okay.
There's a good point.
They're supposed to be releasing Series 13 late this fall, and it's only gonna be like 10 episodes because of coronavirus or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a short season.
It is. But also, I think it's just because they didn't want to be bothered with the full 13 episodes with so much, But we'll see.
Still a short season.
We'll finish this Doctor and hopefully get to a new Doctor. But I'm afraid it's still going to be bad until they get rid of Chibnall, But we'll see how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible a really good actor may be able to elevate the crap like
Idris
Capaldi
Elba.
did.
Idris Elba.
I don't know if he'd want to join the sinking ship, and he's too big a name.
That's a good point.
The best thing they can do is do like they did with the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, or the 4th Doctor, Tom Baker.
Are we falling into that cycle again?
Well, the best thing to do is, with them, find somebody who's completely unknown and who's really good, and turns out they're perfect. Which is, like I say, what they did with Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor, and what they did with Matt Smith, the 11th Doctor. They were both complete unknowns, and they both turned out to be amazing in the role.
Are you excited for the new Dune movie, the remake? You like a casting choice on that?
I want to see it.
I really like who they cast in the original film. I don't know as big a
fan. The original film was phenomenal,
yeah.
But the original film was a mess. Although I enjoyed it, it was still a mess. But yeah, when you went to the movie theater and they had to give you a sheet of what all the words meant. Muad'Dib. No, there were definitions for all of them. Ursul, the strength at the base of the pillar, all that stuff. You know, funny. They literally gave you a sheet going into the theater,
so you could stay true to the movie. I mean, the book, the movie stayed true to the book.
I've never read the book. No, the movie did not stay true to the book.
It did? Oh.
Well, it did in a lot of ways.
That's where all those terms came from, right?
Right. But in the movie, they used the weirding modules to make the death. In the book, I believe it was not. There were no weirding modules. It was just they spoke the words.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Dune, but I do want to buy the book. It's at work. I keep seeing it. I'm like, I should buy that.
I own the book.
But I probably wouldn't read it because I don't read things.
I've owned the book since I was 16. I've owned it for 36 years. I've never read it.
See, that would be me. That would be me if I bought the book.
I need to read it. It's literally on the list of things I should read, and I haven't read it.
I am going to read this, though. That's the one I will read.
All right, cool.
That's like a necessity.
It is. I mean, 1984. It's very topical right now.
I'm like, am I reading a newspaper or current?
You will feel that way. All right. So yeah, the Cybermen continue throughout all of Doctor Who. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what their weakness in the early stuff was. It magnets or? I'm trying to remember.
He like rigged together some sort of, was it a heat gun?
Something like that.
Acid. I remember him pouring acid on their control panel.
Right. Okay. Yeah. On the early stuff, and then later on, it's different things.
Yeah.
Spoiler, but later down the road, because there's silver.
Love and affection. And
no,
emotion.
it's gold.
Oh, okay.
so you throw gold dust at them, and that messes with them. Yeah. I kid you not. It's gold. And yeah, it's just crazy. But they keep getting more and more and more deadly because they keep getting the upgrades. Mm-hmm. So they keep having to top their old selves. Mm-hmm. And that works to a point. The problem is eventually you're going to... and Moffat basically did that, made them so insane. They didn't even need a body. They just needed the dust or the remains of something to reconstitute it. Yeah, it got really ridiculous, you know?
I feel like that's what happens with every single comic book character until they're just these unstoppable godlike beings that... It's like, where do you go from there? You just have to reboot the thing.
Well, and you can do that. You can make it an alternate one, or in the case of Doctor Who, an alternate universe one, which they do in the new stuff. You have the regular Cybermen, and you have the parallel world Cybermen, which are made with a different origin from the Mondasian ones.
Really?
Yeah. So eventually you're going to get to see the origin of them from the other universe, and you're going to get to see the Mondasian origin.
Interesting.
Right. Or you can meet them at a different time because of Doctor Who moving in space and time, before they have all those upgrades.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Really cool.
What I really like is like soldier like regiments with like specific tasks. Like maybe you have a flamethrower Cybermen. Maybe you have like the Hazmat, like different ones that do different things.
The dogs are more into that because the dogs, you remember from Dogs Master Plan.
With the colors.
Colors. they've got the ones with the flamethrowers in the forest, and later on they've got ones with do different things with the suckers, and
that's what she said.
But they're later down the line, the Master works with the Cybermen a good bit.
I bet that ends well. And there's no betraying or backstabbing in that at all.
Not really, no. But no, especially in the 12th and 13th Doctor, the Master works with the Cybermen quite a bit. What's your scare?
Deadly Alliance, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Will be.
Eventually.
All right. Do you have any other questions or comments about Cybermen?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, cool. And like you said, we may revisit the Daleks, the Cybermen, and the Master. Very specifically, those three. If we do these further down the line and stuff. Once we've had enough years and enough further deals to talk about them. However, most of the time we're going to be doing that within the regular episodes too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe our heroes and villains will come to a close at some point.
Well, as long as they keep introducing new companions, new heroes and new villains,
it'll take one a year or so.
Yeah, well, yeah, at some point it's going to get to the part where it's like, okay, we're caught up to the show, and we're caught up with the heroes and villains. So we have to wait till we watch the next series, and then we get to talk about every episode afterwards of the series.
And we'll start watching.
And then we do a couple of heroes and villains, but then we got to wait for the next season. Eventually, this will all catch up to it.
And then we'll have a movie podcast.
Off-topic
podcast. We'll come up with something. There'll be enough time between here and there that we'll come up with. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll retire.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. This is my first long-term podcast. Yeah.
Have you had short-term podcasts?
Yeah, it's more like you come up with an idea, you start it, and then you never go anywhere with it.
It's like Twitch streaming.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's get back into that. It's fun.
Nah,
We'll stream on Terraforming Mars.
I tried that once.
Because you tried it by yourself. You didn't try it. Like when we were playing, we were just chatting with each other.
Yeah, but no, I mean 2 hours or 2.5 hours of describing what was going on and talking, and eventually you get bored.
What you do is instead of streaming it live, if we just record it and then I'll edit it and I'll just put in the best bits, and then we'll cut out all the stuff where nothing's really going on. It'll just be a gaming video we can upload.
Maybe.
It might be fun.
Maybe. Alright. Anyway, hope to see you next week. And we'll talk about more heroes and villains. And I think we've got we
have more heroes coming up.
More heroes. I think next time is Ben and Polly, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, no. Wait, Dodo.
Ben.
With Dodo, we need to do Dodo and then Ben. And then Polly and then the second Doctor.
The second Doctor and then Jamie.
And then Jamie and Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the exact order. Then Jamie and Victoria. And then some more villains. Because we've literally, if there are more villains by then.
We'll have to look into that. We have a list.
Yeah.
I think there's
at that point there will be Salamander. And there's got to be another good villain in there somewhere.
We'll keep you posted.
Alright. Cool beans. See you next week, guys. Thanks. Alright.